Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're dissecting a really massive systemic failure in how creators get credited for their work. But more importantly, we're revealing the definitive architectural solution to actually fix it. If you've ever wondered why the people who literally build our digital world so often go uncredited and unpaid, well, you're absolutely in the right place. Let's get into it.
So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the metadata miasma, the Web 2 mixed bag, masks and callback receipts, the agentic cell, and finally, active human stewardship.
Section 1. The Metadata Miasma. Let's start by looking at a really relatable symptom of this whole crisis. We're kicking things off with a super frustrating mystery that has plagued creators for decades now. Think about it. Music creation used to happen in this very exclusive, controlled studio environment, right? You literally had a production coordinator walking around with a physical clipboard tracking who played what. But today, the studio is anywhere you can open a laptop. Collaboration is so fluid and digital. But because that rigid physical clipboard tracking system is gone, the credits, and obviously the money attached to them, they just get completely lost in the shuffle.
To really wrap our heads around this chaos, I want to share this incredible anecdote straight from the DDEX 2020 Creator Credits Summit. A producer was explaining how they had just finalized the 16-song Lil Uzi Vert album on a Friday. And get this, by the time they had a follow-up call, the album suddenly had 24 songs on it. It perfectly illustrates how the sheer, frantic speed of modern digital collaboration completely breaks traditional credit tracking. There's no hard deadline anymore, you know? The music just evolves way faster than the paperwork ever could. And all of that frantic speed, well, it results in what we call the metadata miasma. You can basically picture it as this toxic fog rolling through our digital ecosystem. Inside this fog, the actual sweat of the brow that gets poured into a creative work simply evaporates. The system totally fails to capture who actually did the work, and all that vital information is just lost to the ether.
Now, this miasma has very real, devastating consequences. Because these identifiers get lost, non-featured performers suffer big time. I mean, Erykah Badu's background vocalist initially missed out on $15,000 in back royalties, just because the credit wasn't captured correctly at the source. And it gets worse. When we abandon structured data, we end up surrendering our power to these invisible algorithmic cartels. These are basically automated systems that just guess who did what, rather than relying on verifiable facts from the creators themselves.
Which brings us to Section 2, the Web 2 mixed bag. Let's do a quick forensic autopsy on exactly how we ended up here.
So back at that DDX summit, they identified a massive structural problem, this mixed bag responsibility of data entry. In Web 2, everyone just passively assumes somebody else down the line, like an A&R admin or a label coordinator, is going to input the data. This passive mixed bag approach is exactly what leads to lost credits and those opaque algorithms taking over. But Web 3 architecture, it flips this entirely on its head. It demands active intent, and that leads to what we call bit-perfect realization, where every single contribution is mathematically proven, verified, and locked in by the actual creators.
Section 3. Masks and callback receipts. Now we're pivoting from diagnosing the disease to the framework that actually cures it.
This right here is absolutely crucial. This is the definitive architectural path to accuracy for capturing bit-perfect credit credits. It starts with undeniable human intent, which drives the application of a specific mask. Then, a deterministic agent executes the heavy lifting based on that mask, and finally generates a bit-perfect callback receipt. It creates this closed, verifiable loop, where absolutely nothing can get lost in the fog.
And we build this loop using a very specific forensic toolkit. We're relying on concrete protocols here, folks, not AI hallucinations. We use Kali wrapper to turn real legal entities into smart contracts. We use kernel sign and cryptographic signatures to immutably track human effort, creating a literal record of sweat. And then we bind the whole shebang together with ERC 7827 to ensure on-chain bit-perfect verification of those agreements.
The point is, the very nature of authorship on the internet has to evolve. We have got to move past this passive Web 2.0 era, where you just cross your fingers and hope your name makes it onto a streaming service. Authorship must become fiercely, cryptographically verified. It has to transition from a passive assumption to a provable claim. Section 4. The agentic cell. Because to make those provable claims a reality without totally overwhelming the creator, we need an engine.
92. That is the exact number of data masks that were manually processed across 66 different points by an agent in our records. And why does this specific number matter? Because it proves that bit-perfect metadata requires actual, meticulous, node-by-node work. You literally cannot just ask an AI to guess a credit list. You need a system that methodically grinds through the data to capture the exact reality of the recording session.
And that brings us to this really fascinating concept called the agentic tort. It's super important to understand that this execution agent isn't some autonomous AI acting on its own whims. Not at all. It operates under a strict human mandate. The human pilot provides the intent, and the agentic cell executes the digital sweat. It is the crucial bridge connecting actual human creativity to machine-readable accountability.
Section 5. Active Human Stewardship. This is the final and honestly most crucial shift required to save our digital legacy.
We have to absolutely banish the passive upside-down tree method of data collection. You know, the old way of just waiting for a centralized trunk to sort out the branches of data for us? Yeah, that doesn't work. Instead, we need to focus purely on root anchoring, meaning sovereign stewardship of your own identity, and leaf node logistics, which means executing the data capture at the exact moment the guitar is recorded or the code is committed.
Building a transparent, permissionless, and trackable ecosystem demands active human stewardship. It's about combining that human intent with agentic execution. In fact, this precise mechanism of using masks paired with callback receipts is the mature system we need to finally override the automated Web 2 miasma through active human stewardship. This is exactly how we keep the fundamental building blocks of our digital world verifiable, fair, and totally free from those automated cartels.
So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. The definitive path to bit-perfect credits literally exists right now. The tools, the masks, the callback receipts, the agentic cells, they are right here. But what happens next is on you. Will you just surrender your legacy and allow your work to fade into the chaotic mixed bag of the Web 2 miasma? Or are you going to actively steward your digital creation and secure your own record of sweat? Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep questioning the systems and keep stewarding your creations. See you next time.